So this is a workshop on how to grade faster and more efficiently, particularly with Google Classroom, well, actually specifically with Google Classroom. But what I wanted to start off with is if you wouldn't mind getting on the chat and sharing with me what you find to be the slowest, most frustrating parts of grading via Google Classroom, just so I can get an idea. And hopefully I'll address some of them. And if the ones I don't address, I can kind of brainstorm and research on in the upcoming weeks. So if you could get on the chat and just send it to everyone, and let's see what people's frustrations are. I think the chat might be faster than everybody sharing one at a time. So just blast through. Okay, there's definitely some of these that I'm going to be addressing. So I hear no add mask grades, so I'm assuming that's like a no fill all for Google Classroom, which I agree. But then that's transferring data to Aries, which there is a function for Aries to pull the grades from Google Classroom. I don't know if you're aware of that. There's actually also a function for Aries to pull not only the grades, but the assignments as well. So if you go to, I can show you later, we'll go to the teacher dashboard, there's assignments that import assignments from Google, and it'll take all the assignments. So you don't have to create a new assignment for it. It'll create the assignment and enter any grades that you've already put into Google Classroom. The amount of time between when I press the return button and the assignment finishes returning, I definitely can talk about. I will address that today. Updating Aries after updating Google Classroom with late work, that is the biggest pain in the butt. I will absolutely admit, though a mass pull of the grades will pull everything again. So if you're willing, actually you can do it with one stop by doing a mass pull again, I believe. So there's so many buttons. Late work is a pain. Keeping up with late work, writing comments, reading written papers, going through slideshows, transferring late work, slides taking a long time. Okay, I'm definitely going to address a whole bunch of these today. So let's go ahead and get started. So I want you to think, first of all, and some of you mentioned this, but people, so I'm speaking more, specifically for Google Classroom, right? Think of when you first open your browser, how many clicks it takes to get to one of your class's classwork pages, right? I would just think about that for a moment and kind of run that calculation in your head if you can. But I've opened a browser here, and my typical, if I'm going to go there from a new tab, my first click, and I will say I go to the classwork page fairly often. All my assignments are due on Friday, but if I have time, what I like to do is in the middle of the week, I'll pop on over to the page every so often and grade the ones that have been submitted early, just to lessen my workload for the weekend. So, and I'm working on next week's assignment, so I go to that classwork page pretty often. Okay, so that's the first click. I've gotten to my email. Now I hit the waffle at the second click. Third click is opening the classroom, and then I see all my classrooms. And so I now have to choose which classroom I want. So I click that. That's what, the fourth or fifth click. And then my last click is clicking all the way to the classwork pages. And so that is already 5 or 6 clicks. I'm like, you kind of take it for granted, like, oh, that's the only way to do it, and so be it. What I realized, and this is really kind of almost a dumb suggestion, but it saves you from those 6 clicks every time, is that I created a bookmark for each classwork page. And so if I were to close this up, I'm going to start a new tab again. If you look, I've color coded them, and I have one for each period. So this number 1, I go boom, 1 click, and I'm into my classroom on the classwork page. And so that, I don't know, it's so silly, but it saves me a lot of aggravation to get to this page by making it a bookmark. Now, when you create your classroom, it has this little theme on top, and you see that this one's pink. And so when I create my bookmark, it's also pink. For my next class, when I created the bookmark, the theme was purple, and so I see it purple. That color coding is actually very useful, because specifically when a kid turned in a late assignment, right? It'll say, you'll get an email saying they submitted it late. And I don't know about you, but it's still hard to keep track of which kid is in which period, right? However, when you click on their late work submission, it's going to bring up a page and you'll see that color at the top. And I'll just remember, okay, pink is first period, purple is third, green is fifth, and then I'll go to the Aries appropriate period to put it in. But I think there's probably, I'll talk a little more about Aries pulling in a minute. What I'd like to start off by doing is just going through my workflow. So I got pulled lassoed into teaching this year about a month and a half ago. And when we first started, I wanted the kids to understand my routine as far as homework. And so some kids were not doing this piece right, not doing this piece right. So that first weekend when I was grading a batch of assignments, it took me forever because for every single kid, I wanted to leave a comment saying, okay, make sure you show your work here, make sure to get the routine right, because I want to make sure the first few weeks that they do it right so that I can get to autopilot later on because they know what I expect. But in having to write a comment for all 100 of my students, it took forever. But not only that, I felt like I was wasting so much time because it was the same comments over and over and over again. And so that after that first week, and I spent I'm teaching 3 classes. It took like 3 hours just to go through and individualize each comment and return it. I was talking to Jen Gritman and she was like, hey, there's this extension called ProKeys. And that one extension changed my life these next few weeks. That 3 hour, so right now, every weekend when I'm grading that week's worth of work, I'm still leaving a comment for every kid. But that 3 hours has been cut down to about half an hour because of ProKeys and because of the workflow that I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to just go from beginning to end for one class and talk you through what I'm doing to individualize comments and return them all in a more efficient manner. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to go to this week's assignment was this one right here. I've categorized them. And if I click on, they're due today at 5, but you can see there's 15 turned in, right? So all I've done is I've gone to the first assignment. I've clicked on the assignment heading and it's opened it up and tell me that 15 have turned it in and 19 have not. It's been assigned, but they haven't turned in. So I click on this number 15 and it opens up this page that shows me the names of the 15 that have turned it in. And so part of what is annoying is that if you were to open one assignment, and I know you know this, when you open one assignment, everybody disappeared. I'm trying to find you guys again. I'm gonna stop the share for a second. Sorry. When you open one assignment, I'm sorry. And then you look at it, to actually comment and then press on the next assignment takes a heck of a long time, right? For as somebody mentioned, even the act of pressing the return button, it takes quite a few seconds. So here's what I suggest. I open up a browser and I don't have any other tabs open on it except for that classroom, and I have my email open. And actually, no, I'm going to say I also have Aries open, and I'll tell you the reason for it kind of when I get to an example for it. But so what I do is I'm going to open all 15 assignments right now into each little tab. So to do that, I just click on, so for each kid, if you hover over their assignment, you click on their name, it opens up that assignment. So I'm going to hit that. I'm gonna hit open that attachment, but I'm gonna go back. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna go back to the next person. This is number 2. This is number 3. I'm gonna go through all 15. So there's 15 tabs open, and if this was at the due date time and had all 30, I would do all 30. And so for those who hate having a gajillion tabs open so that they're super tiny, you're not gonna like this part. But the second part of my process will be way satisfying for you. Once I get to it. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm going to open all 15 assignments. And maybe I won't do all 15 just to save you some that you guys get the point. So I've opened a number of them now, right? Now, they actually won't preload right away. What needs to happen is if I were to click on one of them right now, the screen would show as blank still. However, the trick that I found is that if I click on each of them for like a split second and watch the menu load, see it's loaded. I'm gonna go to the next one now. Open, click the next one. I'm just clicking through all of them. And my process of doing this gets them to start loading the slide. So boom, I'm just clicking through and getting the process. And so once I see this menu getting started, I know that it's already started opening the slide. So what I do is I have the kids either attach their assignment straight to this assignment as a scan, or I have them attach it to a slide. I have a work submission slide that they can attach it to. And so I'm just clicking through all of them and letting it do its thing, because afterwards they'll all be loaded. So sometimes it doesn't work because it's on Zoom. So now I'm gonna go back to the first one now, which is the far right. And now all the kids' stuff is loaded. All right, so now I can click through things. And so now if I click on any one of them, it should load relatively instantaneously. They're all up on there now. And so my workflow from here is that I will grade each one. And the key, somebody said hitting return takes so long. I don't hit the return button. What I do is I close the tab. And so as I'm doing this, the tabs will start getting larger because I'm closing each one of them. So what I do is this, so after I look at each one of them, I give them a score, and then I scroll down, I make a comment, and then I hit post. So score, comment, post, close, right? But still, that can take a long time. And so let me tell you what I've done to make the commenting easier, because this allows me to make comments. Okay, I need somebody's help. I don't see any of your faces. I just see my share screen. What am I doing wrong here? Show video panel. Aha, now I see you again. Thank you. Okay, sorry. That was very disconcerting. Okay, so I give a score, I put in a comment, and then I hit post, and then I close the tab. But I mentioned the comment thing earlier. I have 3 different parts of my assignments. On this first slide, our homework is called the CPM textbook. And so let me find a kid who's actually posted on it. Okay, here we go. On the first slide, the kid posts a scan of the homework. That's called the CPM work. On the middle slide, I assigned Khan Academy, and they have to post a screenshot of their Khan Academy work. And yours might be iExcel, whatever the case may be. And the reason, I mean, I could go to Khan Academy to see if they've done it. However, with that, I don't want to go to another different place. So if I have to post a screenshot and I haven't put a little arrow next to their score, I can one-stop shop, grade everything, right? And then I also have them work on a puzzle in which they post a Flipgrid as well. So they do the puzzle, and then they use the Flipgrid to talk about how they got the solution to the puzzle. So I have them paste a copy of the puzzle here, as well as post the thumbnail for their Flipgrid. So one-stop shop, I can check all 3 assignments. Now, for the CPM assignment, there's really 2 things that I really require them to do. They've attempted all the problems and showed their work, and then they've also checked their work by using the answer key and made some corrections, so which just the student did. And so if they didn't do either one of those, so I found myself saying the same comment to all of them, like, make sure you show your work, make sure you show your work, make sure you show your work. And so there's a Google extension called ProKeys that lets you pre-make these comments and then just insert them super fast. Way faster than Google Classroom actually has a comment bank. If I click on this little icon right here, it's a comment bank. I could insert all these comments. The problem, and the reason I hate it, is that I've entered all these, I started trying to use it at first. I've entered all these comments, but you have to click copy here, go back to here, and then put it into the comment. Took too long for me. Even though it was a few clicks, it took too long for me. So with ProKeys, so I have basically pre-made a whole bunch of comments. So I'm going to take you to my ProKeys real quick. And so you can insert Bitmoji little icons in there. So for my CPM, so I have this little person weightlifting. For CPM, attempt all problems and show work. Just writing the answers is insufficient. Or for CPM, make at least 2 improvements in pen via checking the answer key and copy the secret symbol. Okay, so those are the two primary comments I will give for the CPM assignment. For here, for Khan Academy, I require they get at least 70%. So I put, if they didn't do that, I would enter this comment. For Khan Academy, retry exercise until your score is greater than 70%. Watch a video or come to office hours if you need help. Or for Khan Academy, include your scan from the assignment page, put the arrow next to the score. Or for puzzle, include screenshot of your Flipgrid recording or include a scan of your work. So how that works is this. Let's say a kid did not do everything they want. Let's say they didn't show their work, right? So what I do is I have a standard comment. If you did everything perfectly, my comment is great job. And so here's how I do it. I remember that my comment for if you're gonna get full credit, you've done a great job. My trigger letter is letter A. So watch this. I'm gonna press A, I'm gonna press Shift and space. Watch what happens to my private comments there. And it magically appeared. And not only that, it highlighted it. So Emma did everything right. So I'm gonna put in Emma's name here, and then I'm ready to post it as well. She did everything. So I'm gonna give her a 12. I put in a comment, I post, and then I'm gonna close this tab up. I don't even hit return, right? Let me find somebody who didn't do everything right. So this person did everything also, but I'm gonna give you an example. So my A comment was, if I did the A comment, this is what I had pre-populated with. Let's say they didn't do everything right. So I use the letter F to trigger that. So I press F, Shift space, and look, thanks for your efforts, Dia. To get full credit, please submit the follow-up. Please resubmit after doing the following. So remember all those comments I had sent over our ProKeys? So let's say for their Khan Academy, they only got 50%. My trigger is K for Khan Academy and 7 for 70% they need to get. So all I do is and I've memorized those because I've used them so much. So I press K and 7. So watch this. Shift space, boom. I've already got another comment in. And so I've made this bank of comments that will automatically enter by my just entering a single button that is the code for that. And I don't have to cut and paste. I don't have to press. All I have to press is Shift. And so I press the letter and I press Shift and space. And so I do that. So again, for this person, they did it all correct. So I'm just going to give them the A comment, and also, you know, it feels personal when you type in their name, right? I hit post, I give them a score, and I close it. And the only thing you have to wait for is the fact that it posts, but the post takes much shorter than the return button, right? Now, so that's my standard routine. I go through, give all these comments, give a score, and then I close it. The reason I don't return it is that at the end, if I go back to my original screen that had all of these, as I enter all these scores, you see these have draft scores. These are all the people who have turned it in. And the ones on the bottom are the ones that haven't. All I'm gonna do is click this button. It highlights all the kids have turned it in, and I hit the return button. They all get returned at once. I'm not returning it individually, one at a time. And so, again, my procedure is put in a score first, put in my comments, hit post, and then I close it. When all of these are closed, I know I'm done with the class set, and then I go and return them all. Now, we all have our clever kids who know that when their parents look on Google, if the parents sign up for the Guardian summary and they have assignments missing, their parents get on their case about it. So of course you have kids who hit that submit button and the assignment's empty. And of course we've all got, done that thing where we've gotten that empty assignment and we get super annoyed and we write that email and then they may or may not do something about it. So here's what I do. If they have an empty assignment, I immediately I have my email open. I have Aries open so I can type in their parent's email address or quickly find their parent's email address. So I put the student email address and I put the parent email address. For my subject, I always put empty assignment. And then I've made a code for empty assignment. So my key trigger is EMP for empty. And watch this. Shift space, boom. Hello, blank. I noticed that you turned in your last assignment. And so let's say I put Joey in as the name here. And typically, it's one great thing about ProKey is that you can have it highlight certain things, and it'll jump. If you press tab, it'll go straight to that thing. So, hi Joey, and if I hit tab, the only other thing I have to enter in this email is what assignment it was. So I give my number, so I'm gonna type 008. So it says, hello Joey, I noticed that you turned in your last assignment with no work attached. If you have questions about the assignment, please email me or come to my office hours. I'm happy to help you with figuring out what you need to do for the assignment. I'm now returning your empty assignment to you. Please complete the work about and turn it in again after the work is finished. I'm including your parent guardian in this email so they can support you and remind you to get this done. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help you support you in your learning. Send. Right? It is. I'm gonna do that whole thing from start to finish again. Compose. I just gotta look up their stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Their email address, and then I'm hitting EMP, and then I put the kid's name in. I put the assignment number, and I'm already at send. That was less than 5 seconds that I've shot off this email, and so that is 100% been great for eliminating the kids who do that, because I'm including the parent on the email. They know better at that point. And so I'm happy to share this email template with you. If you want to email me, I can just shoot it over to you. But again, I programmed that into ProKeys again. So if I go over to ProKeys, I will show you it right here. Hello, blank. I noticed you turned this in. Da, da, da. So ProKeys allows me to put in a trigger code that triggers that comment. If you put, the way I have it highlight certain parts is I have a percent sign, and then I put name in here. I can put whatever I want. This is just to remind me what I put in the middle, and then percent sign again. And once you have this thing, when your comment shows up, that part comes up highlighted, and so it reminds you that you need to insert something there, be it a name or assignment number, and then you can customize it however much you want. But you can make as many of these, they're called snippets on ProKeys, as you want. Once you've done it, you hit this check button. And so I've made a few. I type thanks for email so much. So I made that one. I put TH. I have one, thanks for checking in. I have that one for have a great day. It works for your emails. It works for your comments. It works for all those different places. And so this has, if you can take some time and think about the comments that you use a lot, and then kind of build this bank using codes that are, intuitive, that will help you remember it. This ProKeys is amazing in helping you to reduce the amount of time it takes, because you're not having to type it in. So I rarely have to actually type anything beyond triggering those comments. Another way to do comments, I think in this age of digital and distance learning where we're really disconnected, is I think it's important for them to hear our voices more than just on Zoom. And so there's another Google extension called Mote, M-O-T-E, where you can leave an audio comment super easily. Mote only works within the Google Suite, the Google Classroom, and like when you're leaving comments in a Google Doc, private comments on Google Slides, that's where it works. And so let me show you how that works. So I installed Mote, and if you can see in my comment bank, there's this little purple M thing that stands for the M for Mote. When I press that, as soon as I press it, it starts recording. And so I can just, instead of writing comments, I hit that, hello, Joe, you did a great job this week. Have a great weekend. And notice that timer is running, 123. It's just giving me a countdown, because I think I have a minute and a half to record as much as I want. When I hit done, it thinks, and look, this is a link for a voice message. So when they look at your comments, they just click on that. They're going to hear what you just said. And so it is just as fast. And so I'm not going to hit post, but if I hit post, it's going to turn this into the link. When they click on my comments, they're going to hear what I just said to them. And so if you are inclined to do that, it's a nice touch for them to hear your voice as your way of leaving your comments for them as well. You can also say, you did a great job in this first paragraph. And you can also, if you're doing a Google Doc, and how when you leave comments in a Google Doc on an essay or something, you choose a spot and you're typing in these comments, you can actually, the Mote will appear there as well. So you can say, in this first paragraph, I really loved how you did this, but you might think about this. Or so you can, Mote is a great way to kind of quickly, without having to type something out, leave comments. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. I'm going to actually, oops. Okay, so let me look at the chat menu real quick. I have some questions. So I have some questions. When you return en masse, it takes time. Quite. I've found that when I do a mass return, it doesn't take very long. It's you just click return and it goes. Moat is a Chrome extension. Talk and comment is the same thing. I also have talk and comment right here. So you see this little microphone on the right side of my screen. So Moat works within like the Google stuff. Moat on talk and comment, which is another extension. If I hit this, you see that? Now it's recording my voice. As soon as I'm done talking, I press the check button and it produces a link for me that I just can, copy and paste into something and somebody can click on it. And so it's similar, but I think Moat is going to be a little better as far as it's already built in for you. And so that is kind of my process. So the two things I want to emphasize were, let me just go through the whole process and just talk you through it. I open the classroom. I open everybody's slideshow or document so that all these tabs pop up. But that just opening it is not enough. I have to do a second click on each one of them for about a second and a half. And I just go through each one of them for about a second and a half. And that will load every single slideshow or document so that when I'm actually ready to grade, when I go back to that first one, I usually go to the one on the far right. It's already loaded for me. I give them a score. I type a comment. I hit post, and then I close it. And as I close, these will go away. These will go away. When I get to the end, I can just hit, for all the kids that have turned it in, I hit this little box, I hit the return button, and it will return all of them in one foul swoop. The two extensions I talked about were ProKeys, and ProKeys is, you can just type in, and I can give time, and I've kind of allotted time. I was not going to take so long talking. So to give you an opportunity to, if you want, I can walk you through installing both ProKeys and Moat, either one if you're interested. But both of them are Google extensions. So you can just type, Google how to install ProKeys, and it's going to take you to the Google extension ProKey page. And all you have to do is click add to Chrome. Mine's going to say remove from Chrome because I already have mine installed. But the installation process is super fast and easy. Can you quickly show how to set the bookmarks? Yes. And it's not a silly question because I think I'm particular with my bookmarks. You see, I use my bookmarks regularly, so I like to keep them small. If you make a big book, if you make a bookmark, it typically titles it the whole, let's say Google Classroom, whatever. It takes up all the space, so I renamed mine so it's just one letter, and I can recognize via the icon and the one letter what bookmark it is. But as far as how you make the bookmark on Chrome, okay, let's say we're on the page. I'm right here. This is the page I want to bookmark. It is my Google Classroom page. Oh, sorry, it is my Google Classroom classwork page. If you hit the star in the address bar, it's going to let you add the bookmark. At this point, you can name it. If you forget to, you can always rename it. But I'm not going to put it in a folder. I'm also going to click this and click on bookmark bar, right? Because that's where I want it to show up. I don't want to open a folder in a different menu to get to it. I want it to show up on bookmark bar. If you have a lot of bookmarks, what it's going to do is so I'm going to do test. No, I'm going to do something else. What happens if I'm override it? Well, you name your bookmark, right? And then it's going to make it into a bookmark. If you have a lot of bookmarks, what's going to happen is so my bookmarks go all the way across here, and then I hit this little double arrow thing, and these are also my bookmarks. So yours might have disappeared down there. You can change the order of these. So I can drag this one up and down, and I don't want it to be that far even. I want this all the way onto my toolbar. So I'm going to drag it all the way here. I can drag it left to right. As long as you're holding onto your trackpad or your mouse, you can drag that bookmark bar anywhere you want. And the reason I said it helps with color coding is so you can change your Google Classroom class theme. And so I'll show you how to do that real quick too. It says select theme right here. When I select theme, it gives you a number of options. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this pop-up that popped up? And so if you choose these, they just have a different color. And so I recognize which color is which period at this point because I see the color. You just don't want them all to be the same color because then at a quick glance, you can't tell what period is they're submitting it. Other questions? And again, I can take time to help you set up ProKeys, but that's my procedure, and it's cut my it takes some setup in the beginning, but once you have everything set up with the ProKeys and the moat, then moving forward, your process will be much faster for the rest of this year. Questions? You can just unmute yourself and ask you. Another way to rename your bookmarks, you can just right click on it because I changed mine to name test. I'm gonna hit edit and I can just change that back to 3. Mine's not cooperating right now, but you get the idea. ProKeys is right here. You click add to Chrome. And then once you do, so for as far as how Google extensions work, they appear in your bar right here. However, when you first install, they don't default appear there. You hit this little puzzle piece, and it'll reveal all the extensions you've installed. And some extensions just kind of run, but some extensions you actually hit the button to activate something. And so for ProKeys, actually, it's always running. The only thing you would need to activate is if you want to add new snippets, which you might want to do at the beginning. And so that's why you see this K here. But I was saying all your extensions show here. If you want them permanently on your toolbar, you hit this pin button and it'll show up there. So for example, I have a Pear Deck power up, but I don't use it, so it's not blue. But if I wanted to show up, I click this, and now it's added another button for me, but I don't want it, so I'm gonna undo it. So install the ProKeys. If you have trouble finding it, hit the puzzle piece and scroll down till you see their symbol, which is that K, and you press it, and it'll take you to this screen. And you can create as many snippets as you want to use on email, to use on grading and comments. It's very versatile. Do students have the option to receive comments made in documents via email? I don't think so. I don't know. So the comments, like if somebody writes an essay on Google Docs and you're leaving comments, I don't think that will show up in an email. Oh, the other thing I need to mention is, which is super important that I realized, is that you need to get your kids to turn on their notifications for Google Classroom. Because I was, sending all these private comments and realizing, hey, some kids aren't even getting them because their notifications aren't turned on. So real quickly how to do that is if you're in Google Classroom, on the left-hand side, there's a 3 lines for the main menu. You click on that, and all the way at the bottom, it'll show all your classrooms first. If you go all the way at the bottom, there's a settings button. Once you go there, the first button is to turn on your email notifications. Once they've turned that on, they can choose which things they want comments on. So I would definitely say they should have comments on for when I leave, they want notifications for when I leave a private comment. They want notifications maybe for when I return graded work. They want notifications maybe for if you assign stuff, though some kids are regular enough checking Google Classroom, they don't want to be bombarded with that. And also, they can have, well, the piece is make sure you hit this little caret because this chooses what class you want the notifications for. I know Miriam said that you've had kids turn off notifications. You can select it for which class and you can select for which type of notification, right? Because that'll limit it. Because yeah, teachers do post a lot, but I think the things that they do want it on for was when teachers leave you a private comments. Because if I'm grading it a week later, and my son was getting private comments from his 3rd grade teacher, but we got no notifications for it. So it's like you'd have to randomly look at assignment from a week ago and notice that, oh, there's a comment to find it. And you don't want that, especially if these are comments that you want them to take action on. So the question, so if a student sends me a comment on an assignment and I respond with a comment on an assignment, they might not get an email. They will not get an email for it unless they have turned on their notifications. And so definitely, I think it's worth investing in class time to help them set that up, to encourage them to set that up, show them how to set that up. talk about the different options of what they should turn on and turn off, because otherwise you're leaving all these wonderful comments for them and none of them are actually getting them. Moat, if you're interested in setting up Moat, same thing, you can just go to Google and put install Moat and it will pop up. One of the first options is Moat voice notes and feedback. There is a paid version, but the free version is definitely fine. And again, you add it to once you've added, that's one I don't even need the button for because there's never a reason to press it because it always shows up in the comment box. Okay. What is the setting to get comments? So there's a setting for like private comments on work. They need to turn that one on. Private comments on work. So the the student screen is going to look slightly different because this has late submissions of student work. So you could actually go to the sample student and look at their notifications, and you would see exactly what a student one would look like. That's all I really have, unless you guys want to spend some time and install ProKeys or Moat, and then if you have questions, you can ask me about them. Otherwise, you can we could call it here. No comments? No questions?
Hey, Rich, I have a question just specifically about my setup. So I don't want to take everybody's time, but it's just, you said that each Google Classroom icon, when you bookmark it, has the color of your banner.
Yeah.
Mine is all kind of the same and they keep switching, like it's not the same color. I don't know. You kind of mentioned how to select that, but they're all this muted green.
Yeah, so I found that initially too. You see this icon on my screen, that Google Classroom green and yellow icon.
Yeah.
Sometimes it reverts to that. After the first week or so, I found that it stayed consistent and stayed the color of your streamer. I don't know how long. Maybe it was just my imagination, but yeah, you're right. For a while, it kind of defaulted to the generic Google Classroom icon, but then after a while, it went to the banner color. So make all 5 of yours, and if it's still having problems, I think it should clear up in after it kind of somehow figures it out.
I like having them. There's very specific colors because I color code everything, and it's not listening.
Let me mention one other thing. So you guys have talked about late work, and Google Classroom or Aries does have a way of pulling in all the assignments and all the grades. And so let me just show you that, and that could save you some work of entering every single little late work individually, which I'm doing anyways, but this would defeat it. So if you go to the gradebook dashboard and you click import assignments from Google, what it's going to do is every assignment that you don't have, let's say you create an assignment in Google Classroom, but you haven't created an Aries yet, it will create that assignment for you, and it's going to pull every grade that, it basically syncs all the grades from Google Classroom to Aries at once.
We've been told at the high school not to use that feature because there were some bugs in it and some people were having trouble with it really messing up their grade book. Have those been fixed? Can we use it now?
I heard that too, and I pressed the button. And I will tell you one thing, and actually this goes back to the notification thing. For some students, they're not getting the notifications. Even with me sitting through, like I've submitted this problem to IT, they cannot, for some reason, they're not getting the notifications, and we're still trying to figure out why. And so the reason I mentioned that, it's tied to this problem. When you pull grades from Google Classroom into Aries, those same kids for which I think that are not getting the notifications are also not getting their grades pulled. So I have two specific kids that I remember who I always have to manually enter their grades because for some reason Aries doesn't pull it because somehow it's connected wrong. And so I just note those two kids and I remember to manually do them. And so I don't know if that's the error that high school is talking about, but I've used this for a few weeks now, and it hasn't given me a problem as far as it correctly imports the new assignments and correctly imports the grades except for those select kids. The only thing I would caution against is, not against, but to be aware of, is it will not necessarily default your assignment to the right category. So for example, it was making my homework in the test category in Aries, and I had to go back and manually change and be aware of that and change that. Other than that, I think it's doing it fine for me. If you feel not safe about that, you can not do it that way. But this import, it'll import. The thing is, it doesn't let you select what to import. It imports everything, like all the new assignments that you've made in Google Classroom and all the grades that you've entered from all your classes. It is one big pull. So having said that, if you, at the end of the week, instead of entering each kid's late assignment one at a time as they come in, just at the end of the week, pull everything. And that, I think, will do it all. I mean, the only drawback is that your kids won't get that immediate update that they've turned it in, even though you've updated in Google Classroom, but you just let them know, okay, I do this big pull on Fridays or this weekend. And so even if you turn it on Tuesday, Friday, or this weekend is when I update. And if it's not updated, then please let me know. So
also,
okay.
Rich, I also found that if you create the assignments on Aries, and then once you create it, you import from Google, it works really seamlessly. So
yeah, but I'm just saying this button you don't have to create on Aries.
Mm-hmm.
You hit this import assignment, it'll create the assignments in
so
Aries.
So now it's working well. Okay.
So this is gonna, okay. So if you have a new assignment that you've never made in Aries, it's gonna automatically set it up. But what about the assignments you already set up and you already brought those in? So it's gonna just bring in anything, any new grades?
No, it's not automatically gonna set it up. I mean, you need to pull it, but yeah.
No, this import assignments button pulls assignments and scores. Anything that's not anything that's different, it updates. So
wait, so Tony's saying it doesn't set up the assignment, but you think it does?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, you have to click it, but just it brings it up. You need to click which assignment and those things. It does.
No, in fact, it just doesn't actually give me any options. When I click this, it just pulls everything. It's not it's you notice it's
no
on
one
this
doesn't
page
give options anymore. Oh, okay.
I didn't notice it. I tried to because
yeah, I tried it too, and there was a problem. I can't remember what it was. I think because I had created some already in Aries, the new ones that I pulled in, it created them again. It was not worth it. So yeah.
Well, so if you don't create them in Aries, it should be fine. Don't create. So give it a try, test it out, right? Because if this truly does what I'm saying it does, it will save that late work problem. Because it's a pain in the butt when a kid turns in late work and which period in, I have to open Aries, I have to open the next one. So,
okay.
Jay, do you have a question?
Yeah, so that I just had one other thing, which is that like clicking back through all the tabs thing is awful. And I believe that I found a way to turn that off. So you can change your Google Chrome settings to make it so that it will load the tabs in the background. If you tend to be a person who has a lot of tabs open, this will mess you up because it's going to slow everything down. And I haven't actually tried it, but I just wanted to make sure you saw it. Because I mean, that's a crazy amount of time. And to be able to just tell Google Chrome to when I open the tab, really open it.
So are you saying you just found this, but you haven't used it yet, or you have used it?
I haven't tried it yet, so I can't promise that it will work, but it looks very promising.
I will look into it because whatever that loading part is, between the loading and the returning, those take a lot of time, and the comments. So.
And then also, have you looked into a way to batch open them, or do you really just have to click on every single one?
I don't know. I don't know how to batch open. That might be a question for Jeff Castle. I could Google it. I would love to. If I could find a way to batch open them, that would be ideal.
I've used, because there's like URL bulk openers where you can paste a bunch of URLs and open them all at the same time. But
Mm,
since Google Classroom doesn't give you a URL for each, you can't just copy all the URLs and paste them. I haven't.
yeah.
I have done them as a folder. So for example, I bookmark all of my Google Classrooms, so my Google classes, and then my Aries classes, and I put them in a folder I put a bookmark folder on my bookmarks bar. And so then when I click on that folder, you can open all tabs. So I don't know if that helps.
Is that for each assignment you've bookmarked?
No, not for each assignment, but like when I want to open just a certain number of tabs that,
Okay.
And then, you can set up which ones you want to open automatically, and then just go to the folder and go open all tabs.
Robin, do you have a question?
I have many, I'm thinking, just processing it all. No, I am still stuck on that import button and thinking about like, I'm worried that what's happened to Valerie might happen to me because I have exactly that situation. I've always set it up in Aries. So if I do it and it screws it up, is there a quick way to go back?
Well, at this point, how many assignments have you created in Aries that you haven't pulled yet?
That I haven't pulled? None.
Yeah.
Because I always create it and pull it, create and pull.
Okay, so next time but you have assignments in Google Classroom that you haven't put in Aries yet.
That is correct. Yeah,
So,
I
so
will.
try,
Okay.
yeah, so try that. So instead of creating on Aries, you already made it in Google Classroom, they've assigned it, you've turned in, you've graded. So don't even hit that import button until you've graded that batch.
Yeah.
Don't create on Aries. So just go through your Google Classroom routine. When you're ready to put them in Aries, try that button. Don't create it in Aries, try that button. There's no way it can hurt anything.
Well,
The worst you
if
can
it
do
does
is
create a second version of each of the assignments, then
no,
I'll
but
have.
you just said you had not created them in Aries yet.
No, okay. I've got like 20 assignments already in Aries, already created,
Oh.
already named, already brought from Google Classroom. And I'll probably have a whole bunch more by the end of the quarter. So I'm sort of halfway through right now on one road and trying, I don't know if I should switch to the other road.
Okay, so those 20 assignments you have on Aries, are they already scored?
Yes.
So, and there are the grades have already been pulled from Google Classroom to those Aries entries.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So do you have a side? So basically you're at this point, and so you don't have any assignments in Aries that you've created that you haven't pulled yet.
Right.
Right, so good, then you're fine. So let's say you make an assignment for next week, right? You make an assignment for next week. Only make it on Google Classroom. Don't make it on Aries.
Okay.
Make it on Google Classroom.
Right.
Grade it. After you've graded it, now you are going to. Okay, let me back up 1 second. The assignments that what you've been doing as a routine right now is, are you using the Aries pull function?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it already, I think, is made. It's not gonna duplicate all the assignments you've already made.
I see. Because it already pulled from them once, so it already knows they
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah.
How's this sounding to you, Valerie?
Well, have you tried that, Rich?
Try what I made assignments.
And then just do import, and it only imports that one.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So at the beginning of the week, I make an assignment with Google Classroom. They work on it all week. It's due Friday at 5. I grade them all over the weekend, and then at this point I haven't done anything in Aries. Then when I'm finished grading them all, on Monday morning I'll go to Aries and I'll hit that import button, and it pulls those 3 assignments for the 3 different classes along with all the grades that have been created. So theoretically, you never need to create anything in Aries.
So you never have created anything in Aries? You've always.
I did it. No, I did in the beginning.
And
And then I
it's
noticed the
okay?
button.
It didn't
Yeah.
recreate those ones for you.
Correct.
Oh,
You were right.
that's
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it. Maybe I
I
better do my
can't
progress
remember
reports
what the
first.
problem was, and it's fine. You know, it's probably fine, but I can't say anything about it. So I'm glad it's working for you, Rich. It's good.
I think there's an
Well,
option in
if
Aries-
Robin tries it and it works, she can email you and let you know so you have further.
Valerie, I'll call you
confidence.
crying if I have your same. You'll be like, I told you.
I think there's an option in Aries where you can set up a backup of your gradebook. It doesn't happen automatically, but if you go into Manage Gradebook,
Yeah.
there's an option to create a backup. So you could create a backup, click the button, and if it's horrible, restore to the backup.
That is a good thought. That is a good thought. Because creating the
think
backup
it'll be-
doesn't do anything. It's just waiting there in case.
Yeah, and if it all works out, then you created the backup for nothing and it's fine.
I'm going to do that. That's going to make me feel better. Just because progress reports are due, like, aren't they like right around the corner? It would be really annoying to screw this up right
High
now.
school progress reporters are due today, so.
Oh, okay. What are
Can I
ours
ask
due?
some advice?
Yes.
So in my Google Classroom, I have certain assignments that I import into into Aries as part of the grade, and a bunch of things that I use just for like just in Google Classroom that I'm not grading, but there's scores in there, so the students get scores, but they're not going into like Aries scores. So if I hit the button, it's all about hitting the button. If I hit the button and it pulls everything, then is it pretty easy to delete those assignments that aren't technically the ones I'm
Okay.
scoring?
I can address that. As far as deleting assignments, right? Let's say it makes an assignment you don't want. If you hit Manage Gradebook and you go to Edit, I'm gonna wait till it comes up. Go Edit Assignments. I think on this screen, I can
You can delete.
looks like
Okay.
delete one at a time.
Mhm.
Now, I will tell you, that is the exact scenario that I'm going to encounter this week because I gave them an exit ticket that I don't plan to go in there,
Right.
and it was a Google form exit ticket so it pulled the score so they could see what they got. But then so as a way of experimenting, I turned off the grade, so I changed it to ungraded, and I'm going to pull this weekend and see what happens.
Hmm.
There. So I will
So you
have more
mark it as
information.
ungraded in Google Classroom. There's no points, nothing. It's just that ungraded category.
Well, I'm not guaranteeing that. That's my experiment. I'm going to tell you afterwards whether it works or not.
Okay.
So I'm going to press it for the first time this weekend to see if that I'm wondering, does it only pull graded things or does it pull ungraded things? Because I also, in the classwork page this past week, I added some answer keys as a material, not as an assignment. And I mean, theoretically, it shouldn't pull that because there's nothing to pull there. So I will have more